Namaskar friends, welcome to Book Talk. The title today is Around a Temple by R.K. Narayan. Now we all know R.K. Narayan, the famous writer who has given us a lot of literature. Now this particular story is about a temple and a particular officer who is very obstinate, and it is narrated in the story. It is being narrated by a person. So that person is the talkative man. So I'll begin by saying that the talkative man said, some years ago we had a forestry officer in this town who scoffed at things. He was sent down by his department for some special work in Mempi forest, and he had his headquarters here. He had spent a couple of years abroad, and after returning home, he was full of contempt for all our practices and institutions. He was strictly rational, by which he meant that he believed only in things that he could touch, he could see, hear and smell. वो कुछ लोग होते हैं ना, they are very finicky, they don't believe in any superstition. So he was that kind of a person. He only believed in what he could see, hear and smell. God didn't pass any of these tests. At any rate, the God we believed in, and accordingly to most of us, gods reside in the Anjanaiya temple we see on the way. So in this particular small town, there was a small Hanuman, Anjanaiya small Hanuman temple, which everybody respected. Anyone passing through that way, they all respected, barring this person, this officer who had stayed abroad, this forestry officer. He did not have any respect for this particular temple. It is a very simple temple, no doubt, but it is very ancient. It is right in the center of the town at the cutting of the two most important roads, Lolly Road running east and west, and the trunk road north and south. And any person going out anywhere, whether to the court or the college, the market or the extension, has to pass the temple. And no one is so foolish as to ignore the God and carry on. He is very real and he can make his power felt. I do not say that he showers good fortune only on those who bow at him. I do not mean that at all. But I do not mean that it is very simple to please God. It costs about a quarter of an anna. Anna bolte the. It costs a quarter of an anna a week and 5 minutes of prayer on a Saturday evening. 99 out of 100 do it. On any Saturday evening, you can see 1,000 people at the temple going around the image and burning camphor. I have said that the temple is at an important crossing, and every time our friend passed up and down, our friend means the officer. I have said that the temple is at an important crossing, and every time our friend passed up and down, either to his office or the club, he had to pass it. He had to pass the temple. And you may be sure, particularly Saturday evenings, the crowd around the temple caused dislocation of traffic, where lesser beings faced it cheerfully. But our friend was always annoyed. This officer was always annoyed because of the traffic and the traffic jam because of the temple. He would remark to his driver, "Run over the blasted crowd, superstitious mugs. If this town had a sane municipality, this temple would have been pulled down years ago." And it so happened that on a Sunday morning, the driver asked, "May I have the afternoon off, sir?" "Why? When my child fell ill some days ago, I vowed I would visit the Crossroad Shrine with my family. So today," the officer asked, "You want to go today?" The driver replied, "Yes, sir. On other days, it is extremely crowded." "You can't go today," said the officer. "But I have to, sir. It is a duty towards God. I have to complete that duty." Said the driver, "You can't go. You can't have leave for all your superstitious humbugs." The driver was so insistent that the officer finally told him a few minutes later, "All right, go. Come on the first of the next month to take your pay. You are dismissed from service." So the driver goes away. At 5 o'clock, when the officer had to go to the club, he started. He was very irritated because he had no driver. So he thought, "I will do without these fellows." He said to himself, "Why should I depend upon anyone?" The chief reason why he depended upon others was that he was too nervous to handle a car. His head was a whirl of confusion now when he sat at the wheel. He had not driven for more than 50 miles in all his life, though he had a driving license and renewed it punctually every year. Now, as he thought of the race of the chauffeurs, he felt bitter. I will teach these beggars a lesson. Drivers aren't heaven born, just ordinary fellows. It is all a question of practice. One has to make a beginning somewhere. I will teach these superstitious beggars a lesson. India will never become a first-rate nation as long as it worships traffic obstructing gods, which any sensible municipality ought to remove. It was years since he had driven a car. With trepidation, he opened the garage door and climbed in. At a speed of about 25 miles an hour, his car shot out of the gate after it had finally emerged from the throes of gear changing. It flew past the temple, and presently our friend realized that somehow he could not turn to his left as he must if he wanted to reach his club. He could only steer to his right, nor could he stop the car when he wanted. He felt that applying the brakes was an extraordinary queer business. When he tried to stop, he committed so many blunders that the car rocked, danced, and threatened to burst. He felt it safest to go up the road till a favorable opportunity presented itself for him to turn right and then right again, and about turn. He whizzed past the temple back to his bungalow where he could not stop and so had to proceed again, turn right, go up to the trunk road, turn right again and come down the road past the temple. Half an hour later, the dismissed driver arrived at the shrine with his family and was nearly run over. He stepped aside and had hardly recovered from the shock when the car reappeared. The driver put away his basket of offerings, took his family to a place of safety, and came out. When the car appeared again, he asked, "What is the master? What is the matter, sir? What is the matter, sir?" His master looked at him pathetically, and before he could answer, the car came around again. "Can't stop. Use the handbrake, sir. The foot brake's rather loose." "I can't," panted our friend. The driver realized that the only thing his master could do with a car was to turn its right wheel and blow the horn. He asked, "Have you put in any petrol, sir?" "No," said the master. "It had only 1.5 gallons. Let it run for a while and soon it'll run out." The driver went in, performed puja in the temple, sent away his family and attempted to jump on the footboard of the vehicle. He couldn't. He stood aside on a temple step with folded hands, patiently waiting for the car to exhaust its petrol. The car soon came to a stop. The gentleman gave a gasp and fainted on the steering wheel. He was revived. When he regained consciousness, the priest of the temple held before him a plate and said, "Sir, you have circled the temple over 500 times today. Ordinarily, people go around only 9 times, and on special occasions, 108 times. I haven't closed the doors, thinking you might like to offer a coconut and camphor at the end of your rounds." The officer flung a coin on the tray. The driver asked, "Can I be of any service, sir?" "Yes, drive the car home." He reinstated the driver, who demanded a raise a fortnight later, and thereafter, whenever our friend passed the temple, he exercised great self-control and never let an impatient word cross his lips. I won't say that he became very devout all of a sudden, but he certainly checked his temper and tongue when he was in the vicinity of the temple. And wasn't it enough achievement for a god? So friends, that's all in this story. It's a very interesting story, short story. If you get a chance, do read it. I have given you just a synopsis. And yes, such are the ways of gods. If you don't believe in God, He's got His own ways to make you believe in some supernatural power. So goodbye friends, that's all for today. Goodbye and see you soon.